The Will You Grow Show goes live Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern. To receive notifications, click the subscribe button beneath this video, or visit YouTube's Will You Grow channel to see more shows and videos. And now, here's Will You founder Angelique Medow with this week's Will You Grow Show.
Welcome to the Will You Grow Show. How are you? I'm Angelique, founder of Will You and WillYouGrow.com, an inspirational multimedia company that provides education and mentoring to nurture empowerment and joy. Our weekly Grow Show begins by tackling touchy subjects that'll tickle your tempestuous thoughts, fan your eternal flame, and salve your soul with hope. Halfway through, we'll take a 60-second look at what people have to say about us, and then we'll go hands-on to share tips and tools to begin implementing today's lesson into your life. Here in the studio with me today are our audio aficionado, Ben.
Fueled by caffeine and your viewership.
And our video Santa, Neil.
I'm fueled, but I don't know by what yet. Talk to you maybe at the end of the show. We'll see what
They help make this show happen while sharing their personal perspectives and Technicolor goodness. This episode is sponsored by Life and Nature, who keep our hearts beating and our world turning, and by the Carrie Campbell Foundation, which supports creative video content that increases love among all people. Love that! We say thank you to the Carrie Campbell Foundation and each and every sponsor and donor. We'd also like to thank each and every viewer who hits the subscribe button and the notification bell, the like button, and the share button today. It helps the channel grow and makes it easier for new people to find and watch our videos. Now, on to today's episode. Have you been abandoned? I'm going to venture to say that yes, each of us at some point have experienced some type of abandonment, whether we know it or not. Surprised? Well, listen on to hear something that may be helpful to you and those you love. In today's world of hypersensitive reactions to perceived issues like abandonment and neglect, feathers can get ruffled. So I want to be crystal clear that what we talk about on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're not doctors, pastors, or therapists. We're simply a part of life, offering our time, energy, and money to inspire, entertain, and encourage each other to heal, think, feel, and perceive life on a deeper, more meaningful, and more joyful level. I'm an educated and intuitive person and dedicate my life to the study of subjects about which I speak. And I have experienced each subject in some form and sometimes share these experiences in case it may make your life better or easier in some way. Today's topic of abandonment is, at the very least, a touchy subject. Why? Because the perception of being abandoned is an opinion and a perspective. For example, a child may feel that she was abandoned by her parents. Meanwhile, her parents, having done no self-reflection, defend their style of parenting and feel that their child was given everything. Or, in another example, a man may feel he was abandoned when his wife left, while his wife's perspective was that he abandoned her when he had an affair. Regardless from where the feelings of abandonment, trauma, and wounding may occur, there is an opportunity to grow personally and to heal the issue. To get this party started, let's talk about the different types of abandonment. There's physical abandonment, which most of us are probably familiar. This type of abandonment is when the physical presence of a person upon whom we depend is gone. For example, as a baby, if our parents dropped us off somewhere and never came back to pick us up, that would be considered physical abandonment. There are also varying degrees of physical abandonment, but they all involve neglect in the areas of physical presence of people, food, water, shelter, warmth, and rest. For example, if one parent was missing in action, or if both parents worked a lot and we were, as they say, a latchkey kid, or if one or both parents died or were gravely ill physically or mentally, we would be considered abandoned physically. Or if one or both parents had an addiction and they were physically present but they weren't really there or able to talk to us or care for us, this is also considered abandonment. If we did not receive physical nourishment, shelter, and physical care, such as making sure we went to the doctor as needed, got a shower, or brushed our teeth and had clean clothes or bedding, etc., we may also have been considered abandoned. Any of these scenarios could be considered physical abandonment. There's also another form of abandonment, and that is emotional. If we experience physical abandonment, we automatically experience emotional abandonment. So what is emotional abandonment? Well, we all have emotional needs, and if they're fulfilled, we have a foundation for emotional health. When these are not fulfilled, we feel the results of abandonment. These results may include, but are not limited to, struggling in relationships, anxiety, codependency, inability to develop trust, tendency to sabotage relationships, low self-esteem and image problems, addictive behaviors and food disorders, aggression, angry behavior, withdrawal, sadness, daydreaming while trying to make sense of our story and identity, difficulty falling asleep, nightmares, and more. So, what are our needs that must be fulfilled? Our fundamental needs are outlined on the bottom 3 layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which are searchable online. These needs include safety and security, meaning attention, affection, and stability in the form of consistency. Here's an example of what it might look like to have our emotional needs met. If we were a baby and began to cry, our caregiver would come to us, discover what we need, care for that need, which may simply be a need to be held both physically and emotionally. In another example, let's say we were bullied or beat up on the street or at school. A parent would meet our physical and emotional needs. He or she would take us to the emergency room or bandage us up for healing. They would address the people who hurt us and the adults who were responsible for protecting us from the bullies. And they would talk to us, assuring us that we don't deserve to be bullied, that we deserve to be treated better, and teach us how to respect ourselves and not allow people to bully us. And they would probably also give us a hug or a kiss. And they may teach us self-defense or send us to karate lessons or another course to build our confidence and self-protection. The most common form of emotional abandonment comes as a result of parents who are out of touch with their own emotions. Here's an example. Let's say a parent of a teenage child feels fear and insecurity about their child abandoning them or not needing them anymore. Instead of looking into themselves and becoming self-reflective and finding the deeper reason that they feel this way, which often stems from their own unhealed abandonment issues, they may have emotional outbursts, pout, sigh, roll their eyes, complain, fake an illness, or otherwise try to guilt their child into remaining dependent and close by. They may even continue supporting their child financially into adulthood as a means to control their child's loyalty and behavior. I've worked with clients in their 60s who lived this very experience and allowed themselves to be tied to their mother's bank book and manipulations. We could talk about countless examples of how people with conscious or unconscious abandonment issues attempt overt or covert control over others. And we will speak about some of these things in the upcoming weeks. If our parents had any unresolved abandonment issues from their childhood, and the chances of this are high, they may also have passed on those issues to us. Now, why is it important for us to know if we have abandonment issues or were abandoned? Because it limits us. It causes us a myriad of fears and insecurities. Think about how even one insecurity affects everything. How we think, feel, and act towards ourselves and others. It affects our self-worth, our ability to receive compliments, our ability to receive gifts and kindness. Feelings of abandonment, whether we are aware of them or not, breed insecurity and limit our ability to experience healthy relationships. Personally, I've spent years working through a long series of perceived abandonments from my parents, sibling, friends, and mates. During this work, I uncovered an extremely helpful insight for shifting my perspective and inviting healing. This insight can cut the root of abandonment out so that all the branches of insecurity and fear die off more quickly, and some die easily. I'm not saying that we don't need anything else to support our healing. However, by making this shift in our perspective, we can free ourselves from feeling abandoned now and ever again. Because I care about human healing and happiness, I'd like to share the insight with everyone, with the hope that it gives you years of freedom and precious joy. Are you ready to open your mind and fasten your seatbelt? All right. We're going to get spiritual, but not religious. Not to slight or belittle any of our feelings about abandonment, pain, or disappointment, or whatever it is we may feel about being abandoned. What I'm about to say simply addresses the underlying problem that causes the feelings. If we as adults believe that we have been abandoned, are abandoned, or will be abandoned, we have a fundamental chink in our spiritual armor. That chink is idolatry. Idolatry is idolizing, worshiping, or giving power to someone or something that is less than the true supreme source of power, be it God, life, source, or whatever we may call it. An idol is an object or practice that one believes has special powers to help and heal, powers apart from God. This concept is a mistake. There is no power apart from God. This power makes the world spin, the sun rise, and our hearts beat, our bodies move, and every single thing in this life work. It makes everything work. So said in another way, why would we blame or look for healing of our abandonment wounds from the person who we perceive to have inflicted it? Why idolize the perpetrator as having that power to control our healing? Why try and fill our abandonment void through addictions or other relationships when we can go straight to the source of our healing, being ourself and life in God? As children, we may not have known any better than to idolize our parents and see them as all-powerful providers. As adults, we can change our focus from our parents as the source of power and health and happiness to the true source of power, which is life and God. If we give a person who we believed abandoned us power through idolization to control or affect how we feel, how we act, and how we think, we've given away our power and made a mistake. This mistake includes looking outside of ourselves to mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, uncles, friends, lovers, and anyone who abandoned us and made them both the source of the problem and the power to change it. They don't deserve that power. Again, this leaves us powerless because, as an adult, The problem is actually in how we see things. If we can shift our perspective and look at the perpetrator as a catalyst for our enlightenment, rather than the reason we didn't succeed, we change our focus from them to God. And this is freeing. It's hopeful. Because as an adult, it's up to us to address our own life and not blame or look for help from any physical idol, be it a human or anything else. Now, I realize that feelings are feelings, and we may have built up so much resentment towards the people whom we believe abandoned us that we are not yet willing to relinquish control of that defense. I've been there. But at some point, when we're ready, we may see that the walls of blame and anger, although potentially justified, become walls that limit our own ability to ascend beyond our perpetrators. It's important that we give ourselves a whole lot of compassion regarding any painful feelings and experiences that we may have had, and that we are now having. And feelings aren't always changed by our thoughts, at least not right away. However, this concept of abandonment issues actually being idolatry issues is not just a thought. It's a thought that can change the way our entire mind works and the way we see ourselves, life, and everything else. So, with that new seed of perception planted in our minds, I'd like to water it with my respect for your free will, for your soul, your choices, and the power within you that makes everything work. Now, let's allow that seed to rest in our minds for a quick minute while we take a break to see what people have to say. When we come back, we'll hear from the crew and talk tips, tools, and elements from Mother Nature to free us and help us heal.
The Will You Grow Show will now take 60 seconds to check in with you. If you're wondering how to apply a Grow Show topic to your life, here's what people say about mentoring with Angelique.
I was the oldest of 4 children, and I grew up in a family that learned to take care of each other and learned to take care of other people. Somehow I missed the part that said I should be taking care of myself as well. I'm now taking care of my husband. When I met Angelique, I knew that we had a connection with each other. And her ability to give me confidence, to strengthen this belief that it's not selfish for me to care about myself, has been one of the more powerful things that has happened to me. I hope that you will consider looking in the mirror and saying, will you care for you? Self-care is not selfish.
This is your girl. Self-care is not selfish. If you really want to dig deep and stop living on the surface, then schedule a conversation with Angelique.
And now, back to the Will You Grow Show with Will You founder, Angelique Medow.
Welcome back. Before we dive into tips and tools, let's see what the crew has to say about today's topic.
A lot of great tips and a lot of the list that you of things that abandonment can cause. But when you were talking about idolization, I have to harken back to the good book tells us to beware false idols. And how the last 4 or 5 years, so many people have felt abandoned by whatever. Not to bring politics into it, but they felt abandoned by country or whatever, or government, and they started idolizing a certain thing, and look where it got us. So, as a country now, we have to heal our own abandonment and heal the entire country, and boy, is that going to be an daunting task. But that just was running through my head the whole time you were talking about that.
Great thought process and commentary.
Mine is more personal, I think. I was thinking about my sister who, growing up, she was the the artist of the family, if you will. Really talented guitar player, singer, songwriter. And I don't know, there's a point in college where at that point I had started playing guitar and didn't think of myself in that same category of just effortless creation and a bunch of talent. And so we would always play together in any family gatherings. You know, we got to bring the guitar and everybody sits down and we play a little something. But as she sort of drifted away from that in school, I felt like there was this perfect little family set up there of just we could always grab something and go play. And that's just sort of slowly died off or gone away. So there's definitely feelings of, you know, how am I still the one wanting to do this when you have even more ability than I do? And so it's definitely affected my feelings with music and playing music, and just feelings with her as a family member, because it's just like, well, you know, almost like it was wasted or that she should have done more with that. And so now I have to go do it, even though I'm not as good or whatever.
You feel like
you can tell I'm not, haven't totally synthesized these feelings, but yeah, it's just sort of all out there for you. But yeah, that's what I had in the back of my mind when you were talking about it. And with last week, the more it sat with me, I was like, oh, yeah, that definitely fits. Maybe that's a weird way of seeing it, because it's not. She's still there. She'd answer the phone if I called her, so it's not a physical abandonment. To me, it's an abandonment of, you know, maybe something you could have done and gotten really far with.
It's an abandonment of her best self, is what it sounds like, right?
It feels like that.
Feels like
and
that.
So I'm not, you know, obviously her, and I can't answer that, but it definitely some feelings there of maybe something that could have been or should have been, and I guess the work now is on me, is what I'm hearing. Not on her to just go back and grab the guitar, but it's become a thing where I have to deal with it and figure out what's the best thing for me and for my music, because it's not, you know, in a way I'm making my music about her not doing music, and that's not a good way to create art. So
Well said, Ben. Wow, thank you for sharing that personal story with us. And I really appreciate that you could see the corresponding truth there, that with her issue, whatever she's working through, that you've taken on some of those things, and instead of looking at her or somewhere outside of yourself, you're taking it back to you. You're bringing it home.
Bring it home, baby.
Nice work. Now you have a chance of actually doing something about it. Cool. Awesome. All right. And now it's metaphysical tool time. Our healing stone for today is black agate. Now remember, we don't encourage any worshiping of idols of any sort. So we're not suggesting stone worshiping. We're recommending using stones like we would food. Certain foods support our health and healing. We don't worship the food, we give thanks for the food, which was created by the power that creates and sustains all. Ben, I think you have some fantastic information for us about the black agate.
I think you're right. Hopefully my delivery will be fantastic. Black agate cleanses and stabilizes the aura, eliminating and transforming negativity. Agate is a wonderful gemstone for balancing the mind, body, and spirit, as well as helping you to slow down and center yourself. Agate enhances mental function, improves concentration, perception, and analytical abilities. It soothes and calms fears, heals inner anger and tension, and creates a sense of security and safety. Exactly what we need when working through feelings of abandonment. The following information is from crystal-life.com. Black agate assists in physical and mental balance. It harmonizes yin-yang and positive negative energies, soothes and brings clarity and concentration to all situations. Agates heal emotional trauma, providing a sense of safety and security by dissolving tension. Agate increases energy and confidence, It gently shows you the truth of situations. This stone helps with emotional balance, offering courage, endurance to body, mind, spirit. It smooths and stabilizes the aura and helps precision of inner sight. Agate helps us to get in touch with our inner self. It transmutes dark emotions such as jealousy, bitterness, and resentment, and promotes self-acceptance and forgiveness. In ancient Mesopotamia, stones of agate were engraved with seals. These were symbols of power and authority. Ancient Romans used agate to create mortar and pestles to grind their medicines. Legends state that eagles carry pieces of agate to their nest to protect their young. Agate is associated with Archangel Michael. Agates are semi-precious gemstones and are a variegated form of chalcedony. There are thousands of types of agate. Black agate can be found throughout Africa as well as in Brazil. While chakra support varies according to color and type, these stones can generally stabilize and cleanse all the chakras, and black agate is primarily associated with optimization of the root chakra.
Excellent information,
What is
Ben.
the root chakra? I don't remember what the root chakra
The root chakra is at the very base of our body. It
Oh.
would be like where
Makes
the
sense.
tailbone is down there. Yes.
Gotcha.
And that is
Okay.
part of what attaches us to the Earth Star chakra down into the earth
That makes
and up to the earth.
perfect sense now.
Capable of affecting all of them.
Capable.
Strongly associated with the root chakra.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes, yes. Neil, do we have a healing animal for today?
We do! It's a relative of Puxatawny Phil.
Oh,
It's Groundhog Day! Again. Groundhogs have a reputation for predicting spring. We know that. According to legend, if on February 2nd they come out of their burrows, spring will come early. Groundhogs have a wide distribution in North America, especially in the east, being found from Georgia and Alabama in the United States to Ontario and northern Quebec. In the west, they go northward to Alaska and through the Northwest Territories and southern Yukon. Groundhogs like to be in open areas like fields, open forests, clearings, and rocky slopes. They usually establish their burrows where short-growing plants, such as luxuriant grasses, provide food for them. They generally avoid damp, swampy areas. Groundhog reminds us to burrow down and explore our consciousness more deeply, where we may find all the answers we're looking for. Groundhog also reminds us to make our own boundaries and respect the boundaries of others. If we make a mistake, studying the ways of the groundhog can help us learn from the mistake and not repeat the same mistake and cycle in the future. That makes sense. The study of cycles, beginnings, and endings can provide further insight. Here are some fun facts about the groundhog. Although usually asocial, these animals sometimes greet each other by touching noses. When outside their burrows, groundhogs stay alert when not feeding actively. Often one or more nearly motionless individuals will be standing upright on their hind feet, looking out for danger. And I've seen several of them, as we all have, driving along the interstate or wherever. They have a high-pitched whistle to use when alarmed to warn others in the colony. Groundhogs are skilled swimmers and climbers, which helps them escape less skilled predators. Groundhog burrows are very complex, and each one has a bathroom chamber. Really? Interesting. In central Ohio, groundhog burrows uncovered an historic village, which is now a famous archaeological site. Groundhogs can shift over 700 pounds, or 317.5 kilograms, of soil digging one den or burrow. The groundhog's close relatives include chipmunks, squirrels, and prairie dogs.
Oh, great information.
Hooray
Thank
for
you
the
very much for that,
groundhog.
Neil. And the following information about the iris, which is our flower for today, is from FTD.com. The iris is represented in Greek mythology. The iris was the goddess of the rainbow and a messenger for Zeus and Hera, and many believe that the flower is named after her. She carried messages from heaven to earth on the Ark of the Rainbow and was a companion to female souls on the way to heaven. To this day, Greeks plant purple irises on women's graves so that iris will guide them to their resting place in heaven. The iris commonly means wisdom, hope, trust, and valor, and can be found in a variety of temperate zones around the world. During the 16th century BC, irises were introduced to Egypt from Syria, and stylized versions of these flowers began to decorate the scepters of pharaohs and represented victory and power. The iris inspired the fleur-de-lis, a decorative symbol used by French royalty. The fleur-de-lis originated in the Middle Ages, became tied to the French monarchy, and appeared on their coat of arms, coins, and shields. Some believe that the 3 petals represented the 3 social orders: nobility, clergy, and peasants. There are over 200 species of iris that come in a wide variety of colors. The beauty of irises inspired many artists. One of the most notable works on irises is Van Gogh's irises. In this piece, he carefully studied the flowers to capture their unique twisting and curving lines. The iris is the state flower of Tennessee and is also the February birth flower and the 25th wedding anniversary flower. Most iris varieties bloom in early summer. Irises have 3 large outer petals called falls and 3 inner upright petals called standards. Around the 19th century, especially in Italy, orris roots, the roots of Germanica and Pallida species, became an integral part of the perfume industry. These roots, when left out to dry, develop a violet-like scent, which improves over time. Because of its pleasant smell, orris roots were used in many cosmetics until people noticed that it caused allergic reactions. Today, the roots are often used in potpourri and sachets. Orris roots were also used for medicinal purposes as an antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and for teeth and skin health. With its great diversity of colors and meanings, irises are great gifts for all types of people in your life. You can give purple irises to a parent or mentor, yellow irises to a significant other, and blue irises to someone who needs a little extra encouragement. So what say ye? Please share your thoughts and feelings about abandonment and healing abandonment with us so we may learn and grow stronger and more fulfilled together. As always, we thank you for watching and sharing time together. If you like today's show, we'd be honored if you'd hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive weekly notifications. Hit the like button to let us know that you like what we're doing, and hit the share button to share this message with people you care about. To see more of our videos, click the green Will You button below this video and scroll down. If you'd like to mentor with me, feel free to schedule your complimentary conversation at willyougrow.com today, and I'll look forward to speaking with you soon. And make sure you join us again next week where we continue our topic of abandonment, speaking specifically to personal issues in relating to healing from abandonment issues. And we'll have a special guest, Reverend Henry Bolden III, who's going to share his personal perspectives on healing from abandonment. So for now, we bid you adieu. Take excellent care of your very fine self, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Always with love, from Angelique.
For more information about programs offered by Will You, mentoring with Angelique, and to watch video success stories from clients, explore willyougrow.com. If you or your company are interested in inspiring our mutual audience by sponsoring this or another of our programs, let's talk about it. Boost viewer confidence and trust in your company. Call 1-833-WILL-YOU, then press extension number 6. Make sure to click the subscribe button to get reminders before upcoming shows.
Iris is a good old name, too.
Oh, it is.
You don't see
I forgot
enough
about that.
of grand old name.